Thank you for listening. This course was created to help you succeed in your educational journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional podcasts, books, newsletters, and cool merchandise await. Let's get started. The purpose of communication between artificial intelligence systems and humans goes far beyond the mere presentation of outputs. At its core, communication is about ensuring that results generated by models are understandable and usable by people. In high-stakes contexts such as healthcare, finance, or public policy, clarity in communication allows individuals to make informed decisions that can have significant consequences. Trust is also built through openness. When systems explain themselves clearly, users feel more confident relying on them. Beyond trust, effective communication empowers users to exercise autonomy by giving them the tools to understand and, if necessary, challenge system outputs. In this way, communication is not just an accessory to AI but a vital function that supports responsible adoption and governance. Different audiences require different communication strategies, and this diversity makes tailoring essential. The general public, for instance, benefits most from explanations that are stripped of jargon and delivered in straightforward language. Technical teams, on the other hand, require precision and detail, with access to metrics, assumptions, and trade-offs. Regulators look for evidence of compliance, expecting documentation and transparency that can stand up under legal scrutiny. Leadership teams focus on strategic impact, needing to understand how system outputs influence organizational objectives and risks. By identifying the needs of each audience, communicators can create explanations that resonate rather than confuse, ensuring that information serves its intended purpose for each group. Plain language is one of the most important principles for successful communication. This means choosing words that avoid unnecessary technical jargon, simplifying sentence structures, and focusing on clarity of meaning rather than technical elegance. Concise wording helps prevent confusion, while direct phrasing makes explanations easier to follow. Accessibility across different literacy levels should also be a guiding goal, ensuring that individuals without specialized knowledge can still engage meaningfully with the system. Applying plain language principles does not mean oversimplifying or stripping away nuance, but rather expressing complexity in a way that remains approachable. It is a matter of respecting the user's capacity to understand, while removing avoidable barriers. Progressive disclosure is a strategy that aligns well with diverse user needs. The concept involves offering a high-level summary first, giving users an overview that can be understood quickly. Those who need more detail can then request or explore further layers of explanation tailored to their role or expertise. This method prevents information overload while still ensuring that depth is available when necessary. For instance, a patient might first see a summary of why a medical system made a recommendation, while a clinician could access deeper technical data supporting the same decision. Progressive disclosure balances brevity and depth, recognizing that not all users want or need the same level of information at the same time. Visualization plays a powerful role in human communication of AI results. Complex outputs can be transformed into intuitive formats, such as graphs, heat maps, or simplified decision paths. Visual representations highlight the relative importance of features or show how inputs contributed to outputs in ways that text alone might not convey. However, effective visualization requires careful balance. Overly simplified graphics risk misleading users, while overly complex ones can overwhelm. Accessibility must also be considered, ensuring that visuals are designed with considerations for users with visual impairments. At its best, visualization translates technical information into a shared language of patterns and shapes, making insights more widely comprehensible. The tone and style of communication also matter greatly. Professionalism and neutrality should be maintained to avoid the perception of manipulation or bias. Persuasive or overly confident language can be dangerous, especially if uncertainty is present in the results. Instead, communicators should aim for consistency in voice across channels and interactions, which strengthens credibility. Transparency about uncertainty is equally important. and this should be conveyed honestly rather than hidden behind polished phrasing. Users should feel that the communication respects their capacity for judgment, providing them with the information they need without attempting to nudge them toward a particular conclusion. Explaining uncertainty is one of the most delicate yet essential parts of human-AI communication. People often assume that machine outputs are definitive, but most AI models work with probabilities and approximations. Communicating this reality requires careful phrasing. Confidence intervals or probability ranges can be presented in plain terms, avoiding abstract statistical jargon. Relatable metaphors also help. For example, a weather forecast comparing a 70% chance of rain to 7 days out of 10 in similar conditions. Clear distinctions should be made between results that are highly certain and those that are estimates, helping users avoid overconfidence. By guiding users to interpret ambiguity responsibly, communicators promote more thoughtful use of AI outputs and reduce the risk of misunderstanding or misplaced trust. Contextualization ensures that AI outputs are not interpreted in isolation. Predictions and recommendations should be placed within the broader system in which they are used. For example, a credit risk score might be explained in relation to typical ranges in the industry, giving users a benchmark for comparison. Context also means clarifying the intended scope and limitations of a model's application, so that outputs are not misapplied to settings for which the model was never designed. By embedding caveats for reliability and contextual markers, communicators prevent misinterpretation and empower users to situate AI insights within their own decision-making frameworks. Feedback channels are vital for keeping communication dynamic, rather than one-sided. Users should be able to question outputs, seek clarification, or escalate concerns when something feels unclear or incorrect. These channels also create opportunities for continuous improvement, as recurring questions reveal where explanations fall short. Importantly, organizations should close the loop by responding to feedback and updating communication strategies accordingly. A feedback mechanism turns explanation into dialogue, ensuring that communication evolves alongside user needs and model behavior. This ongoing exchange reinforces trust, since users feel heard and see that their input shapes the system. Ethical considerations must guide the design of communication strategies. Respecting user autonomy means providing information that enables genuine choice, not nudging people toward predetermined outcomes. Language should avoid framing techniques that manipulate or subtly bias interpretation. Equal clarity must be ensured across audiences, so that no group, whether technical experts, regulators, or the general public, is left disadvantaged by lack of transparency. Communication also supports informed consent, particularly in high-stakes areas like healthcare, where users must understand risks before agreeing to treatment guided by AI. By grounding communication in ethics, organizations ensure that transparency is not only technically effective, but also morally sound. Cross-cultural factors add another layer of complexity. Communication styles that resonate in one region may fail in another due to differences in formality, tone, or expectations about authority. For example, some cultures may prefer highly formal explanations, while others value conversational clarity. Language diversity also demands adaptation, as literal translations may not capture the nuance of technical terms. Regulatory norms can further differ, shaping how communication must be structured to comply with local laws. Recognizing and respecting these cultural differences ensures that communication is not just technically accurate, but also socially and legally appropriate across global contexts. High-stakes settings demand particularly careful communication strategies. In healthcare, clarity of explanation can directly affect patient safety, requiring thorough disclosure of uncertainties and risks. In finance, transparency about risk models helps protect consumer rights and supports regulatory compliance. In law enforcement or government applications, communication must balance detail with public trust, ensuring that systems are seen as accountable and legitimate. The challenge is to provide enough detail to support understanding without overwhelming the user with complexity. Done well, Communication in these contexts becomes a cornerstone of responsible AI, ensuring that systems serve the public good while maintaining confidence and accountability. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Testing the effectiveness of communication is a necessary step in ensuring that explanations achieve their intended purpose. Pilot studies with target users provide valuable insight into how people actually interpret system outputs. Surveys can measure comprehension levels and identify areas of misunderstanding, while observational studies reveal whether users apply explanations as intended in real-world contexts. Adjustments can then be made to language, structure, or delivery based on these findings. Iteration is key. Communication strategies should evolve in response to feedback rather than remain static. By embedding testing into the life cycle of communication design, organizations can refine their approaches and ensure that clarity is not assumed but demonstrated. Interface design principles also play a major role in communication success. Human-centered design emphasizes that explanations should be delivered where users need them, integrated naturally into workflows rather than hidden in technical appendices. Interfaces should avoid clutter and excessive technicality, offering clean, intuitive layouts that emphasize usability. Providing explanations within the same screen or workflow where decisions are made reduces friction and helps users apply insights immediately. A well-designed interface can make the difference between explanations that are read and understood versus those that are ignored. Prioritizing usability ensures that communication adds value rather than becoming a burden. Balancing detail and brevity remains one of the hardest challenges in communication. Essential insights must be delivered up front, ensuring that users grasp the most important points quickly. At the same time, expanded detail should be available for those who wish to explore further. Avoiding unnecessary complexity prevents cognitive overload, but too much brevity risks leaving important information out. The layered approach essential summary first, detailed exploration later provides a practical compromise. By supporting multiple levels of engagement, communicators respect diverse user needs while maintaining both accuracy and efficiency. Trust and transparency are deeply intertwined with effective communication. When AI systems explain themselves clearly and consistently, adoption is more likely to follow. Openness reduces suspicion, helping users feel that nothing is hidden from them. Consistency across communications reinforces organizational credibility, preventing confusion caused by shifting tones or contradictory information. Transparency also aligns with regulatory mandates, which increasingly require organizations to demonstrate not only technical robustness but also clear communication practices. By treating transparency as a communicative obligation rather than an optional add-on, organizations can strengthen both trust and compliance simultaneously. Integration of communication into the life cycle of AI systems ensures that clarity is present from start to finish. During planning, communication strategies should be designed alongside technical specifications, ensuring alignment between system function and explanation. Evaluation stages provide opportunities to test these strategies, gathering feedback from pilot users. At deployment, clear user documentation should accompany the system, helping people understand both capabilities and limitations. Once in production, updates and ongoing communication must keep pace with changes in system behavior or regulatory requirements. This lifecycle approach treats communication as a continuous process rather than a one-time event, ensuring lasting clarity and accountability. Automation is increasingly used to enhance communication between AI and humans. Natural language generation tools can create tailored explanations dynamically, adjusting outputs based on user role or expertise. For example, a regulator might receive a detailed compliance report while an end user is presented with a plain language summary of the same decision. Dashboards and monitoring systems can automatically produce updates that track changes in model behavior, ensuring communication remains current. Automation reduces manual burden and allows communication to scale across large systems and diverse audiences. At the same time, monitoring effectiveness remains essential, ensuring that automated explanations are not just frequent, but also meaningful and accurate. Training communicators is just as important as training models when it comes to effective human-AI interaction. Staff responsible for delivering explanations must be educated in user-centered communication principles. This includes guidance on tone, clarity, and neutrality, as well as practical skills in simplifying technical language without distorting meaning. Sharing best practices across teams helps ensure consistency so that explanations from different parts of an organization feel cohesive rather than fragmented. Over time, these skills should be developed into a core organizational capability, much like data literacy. By investing in communicator training, organizations signal that they value not only the technical accuracy of AI systems, but also the human experience of using them. Regulatory alignment is another growing pressure shaping communication strategies. Consumer protection laws already emphasize the need for clear explanations in areas like credit scoring and insurance. Broader AI regulations are likely to make communication requirements more explicit, particularly in high-risk applications. Organizations must be prepared to demonstrate not only that their systems are technically sound, but also that their outputs are explained in accessible and understandable ways. Documentation of communication strategies and evidence of their effectiveness will likely be expected during audits. By anticipating these mandates now, organizations can embed compliance into their communication practices and avoid costly retrofitting later. Future directions in communication suggest a shift toward more personalized and adaptive approaches. Systems may increasingly tailor their explanations to individual users, taking into account literacy level, cultural background, or preferred learning style. Expansion to multimodal and multilingual systems will broaden accessibility, ensuring that explanations are not limited to text alone, but include audio, visual, or interactive formats. Human-centered design research will continue to inform best practices, helping systems present complex information in ways that are intuitive and meaningful. Digital literacy initiatives may also integrate AI explanation training, preparing the public to engage critically with automated systems. These trends point to a future where communication is not generic but responsive to the diversity of human users. For practitioners, several practical takeaways stand out. Communication is the bridge that makes AI outputs meaningful to humans, and this bridge must be built with care. Different audiences require tailored approaches, from plain language summaries for the public to technical detail for regulators and developers. Trust requires openness, neutrality, and consistency, while ethical practice demands respect for autonomy and avoidance of manipulation. Testing is essential to ensure explanations work as intended, and iteration ensures they keep improving. By embedding these principles, organizations can create communication strategies that are not just effective, but also trustworthy and resilient. The outlook for communication in AI systems is one of growing importance and institutionalization. Broader adoption of user-centered communication practices is expected across industries as AI becomes more deeply embedded in decision-making. Increased automation will make explanations more scalable, while regulation will push for consistency and accessibility. Organizations that take communication seriously will enjoy stronger trust, smoother compliance, and more successful adoption of their systems. The emphasis will increasingly be on making transparency not only possible but also usable, ensuring that explanations truly serve those who depend on them. In conclusion, human-centered communication is a vital companion to responsible AI. Principles such as plain language, progressive disclosure, visualization, and feedback ensure that outputs are understandable and usable by diverse audiences. Ethical and regulatory considerations reinforce the need for openness, while training and automation make communication both sustainable and scalable. As AI continues to evolve, effective communication will remain central to building trust and supporting informed decision-making. This naturally leads to the next topic: Privacy by Design, where communication intersects with the safeguarding of personal data, ensuring that transparency and protection go hand in hand. Thanks for tuning in to Bare Metal Cyber, your trusted source for cybersecurity educational materials, news, and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.